The sight still feels absurd. Blue and red strobes from the patrol car washing over my manicured hydrangeas while a 14-year-old in basketball shorts shouted into his phone. He has barricaded himself. The kid yelled at a presumably very unimpressed 911 dispatcher. The barricade was my 6-foot cedar privacy gate. My gate, my lock, on my property. The responding officer took one look, slid the latch, clacked it twice, and turned to the teenager with the exhausted patience of seasoned patrol officers. "Son," he said flatly, "this is how gates work." I'm Nolan Pierce, a quiet analyst and hobby woodworker who moved into Cedar Crest Meadows for the mature trees and the promise of discreet community living. Instead, I got Tricia Malaloy, the HOA president who wore visors like battle helmets and whose teenager, Brandon, treated our cul-de-sac like a BMX arena. They'd cut through my side yard multiple times daily, trampling flower beds. I did the only reasonable thing. I installed a handsome matching cedar side gate to keep the pack out. Tricia called it hostile architecture. The first offense was a note tucked into my door handle with official HOA letterhead, "Gates discourage community flow." Then came the ridiculous fines: a neighborly access reduction, $50, visual obstinacy, $75, and unauthorized latch, $100. I am not making these up. Tricia started leaning through my open garage door to lecture me about porous yards and the importance of neighborhood connectivity, using phrases like circulation patterns with misplaced confidence. She took it online, posting to the neighborhood chat forum, and then screenshot only the responses agreeing with her to leave on my windshield. Brandon began testing the latch like a determined raccoon, leaving 14 tally marks scratched into my fence with Sharpie. Tricia herself showed up one afternoon, measured my gate with absurd precision, and announced it was 1 in 2 freedom negative. When I emailed her the original Architectural Review Committee, ARC approval I had received, she replied, "Approvals can be spiritually revoked." I read that sentence 5 times looking for satire. There was none. Saturday afternoon, everything came to a head. I was in my garage when the boys came barreling down the hill, aimed directly at my now-locked side yard. Brandon rattled the gate, then pulled out his phone and called 911 to report illegal blocking of a public passageway. "Through what?" the dispatcher asked. "Through his gate," Brandon insisted, as if the definition of emergency were self-evident. Tricia arrived moments later, breathless, clutching a wrinkled photocopy of what she claimed was a never-built walking path from 1998. She informed the responding officer that my gate had captured community land, and my yard was an easement. She was tapping her finger on the photocopy like it was the Magna Carta. Then she slipped. She admitted right there that she had tested the lock 3 times this week to verify the obstruction. The officer asked if she had attempted to open a locked gate on someone else's property. Tricia replied it wasn't someone else's property, it was community adjacent. Those were her exact words. "I'm a private person, but I'm not powerless." I excused myself, walked calmly to my office, and returned with receipts, not emotional ones, but actual county-stamped documents. I produced the recorded plat map showing my clear property lines, the survey with the pins marking the corners, the HOA's own bylaws highlighting the right to install and secure fencing, and the ARC approval form stamped approved with Tricia's signature. The patrol sergeant radioed county zoning. Zoning texted back within minutes. No easement on Lot 42. Property lines confirmed per recorded survey. Then I pulled up my Ring camera footage on my phone. The officer leaned in. The video showed Tricia 3 days prior lifting my latch with a butter knife, trying to figure out the lock mechanism. Yesterday's footage showed her whispering to her son, "If it breaks, it was loose. We just found it that way." The officer asked Tricia if she'd like to revise her statement. She said the camera angle was misleading. Cedar Crest held a special meeting 2 weeks later. I presented my case with slides. The plat map showing the mythical path was marked abandoned, 1998, the bylaws, and the Ring camera clip, which I edited into a tight 2-minute compilation. The board's attorney cleared his throat and explained tortious interference, harassment, and abuse of authority. He noted the HOA's liability. The vote to rescind my fines passed 7-0. Then came the real stunner, a motion to censure Tricia for instructing minors to trespass and to remove her president perks, her key to the common area shed, her reserved parking spot, and her stipend. The vote passed 6-1. "But the shed is my office," she protested. The treasurer replied dryly, "It stores folding chairs, Tricia." Tricia lost the presidency. She also gained a court-ordered boundary lesson, a civil injunction requiring her and Brandon to stay 5 feet from my fence. The filing fee alone cost her $300. The HOA issued a formal respect the gate policy, complete with a diagram, using my latch as the official example in updated guidelines. Brandon now completes his bike loops the long way and, as part of his court-ordered community service, spends weekends repainting the fences he tested. Tricia sat frozen in her folding chair as the board collected her key and her parking placard, the collapse of her small empire complete.